There is a place deep within you that you've kept sealed shut. A quiet chamber where memories echo. Where pain whispers. Where questions linger unanswered. You don't go there often. You've learned to lock it away. To smile over it. To build a life around it. But I see it. I know it. And I'm not afraid of it. I am the God who walks gently into wounded spaces. I do not barge in. I do not expose to shame. I uncover to heal. I reveal to restore. And right now, I am calling softly, lovingly, whispering into the silence of your soul. Let me heal what you hide. You've hidden the tears you never cried because strength became your survival. You've hidden the ache of disappointment because hope felt too risky. You've hidden the weight of questions that never found answers. Why did it happen? Where were you? Why wasn't I enough? But I've been with you in every moment. Even the ones you don't speak of. Even the ones that haunt your sleep. Even the ones that shaped your silence. I held you when you thought you were alone. I caught every tear that never reached your cheek. I heard every unspoken prayer. Every muffled scream. Every whispered, help. You thought healing meant pretending it never happened. But true healing begins with bringing it into the light. Not all at once. Not loudly. Just enough to breathe again. Just enough to feel again. Just enough to let me in. I'm not asking you to relive the pain. I'm asking you to release it. To trust me with it. To let me show you that it never defined you. That it never disqualified you. That it will never have the final word. You've built walls to protect what's tender. But those same walls have also kept me out. I don't come to destroy your defenses. I come to disarm them with love. I don't demand your trust. I win it with gentleness. Let me walk with you through the memories. Let me sit with you in the sorrow. Let me rewrite the story with truth. Not the version shame told you. Not the version fear repeats. But the one where I was always near. Always present. Always grieving with you. Hoping with you. Fighting for you. You don't have to carry it alone anymore. You never were meant to. Let me heal what you hide. You've become so good at performing wellness. Even while bleeding beneath the surface. You've mastered the language of, I'm fine, when your soul is silently pleading for someone to notice. But I notice. I always have. Your silence is not invisible to me. Your hidden hurt is not hidden from me. I don't love the polished version of you more than the broken one. I don't wait for you to pull it together before I draw near. I step into the undone. The raw, the unfiltered spaces. Because that's where love becomes real. That's where transformation begins. You're tired, not just in your body, but in your soul. Tired of pretending. Tired of avoiding. Tired of pushing it down. Stuffing it away. Locking it up. And I am not asking you to unpack everything at once. I am asking you to open your heart just enough for me to enter. I will not force healing. I invite it. Do you remember the moment you decided to hide? That early wound that taught you pain should be silenced. That emotions should be swallowed. That tears were weakness? I was there. I saw the shift. I heard the internal vow, never again. And I have waited patiently for the moment you would let me touch that vow with my love. You don't have to be afraid of what you'll feel. I am not here to re-traumatize. I'm here to restore, to remove the sting, to breathe life where you only feel numbness. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering without reliving. It's about seeing me there, where once you only saw abandonment. The lies you believed to survive cannot sustain you for the life I've called you to live. The walls that protected you are now prisons. The numbness that shielded you is now stealing from you. And I'm calling you out. Out of the tomb. Out of the hiding place. Out of the performance. This journey will not be rushed. I am not in a hurry with your healing. I am patient, kind, attentive. I will sit with you in silence. I will hold you through the unraveling. I will steady you when the tears come. I will remind you who you are beneath the pain. And you will remember, not the wound, but the wonder, not the pain, but the presence, not the shame, but the shepherd. Let me heal what you hide. You've grown so used to functioning with fragments that you've called it normal. But I never called you to survive with pieces. I created you for wholeness. Not a fake wholeness stitched together by performance, but a sacred wholeness formed through presence. What you've buried hasn't disappeared. It's only gone deeper. And the deeper it hides, the more subtly it controls. It shapes your fears, your decisions, your beliefs about me, your expectations of others. The past isn't past when it still speaks into your present. That's why I whisper. Let me heal what you hide. I don't just want to mend the surface. I want to go beneath the patterns, beneath the defenses, beneath the coping. I want to hold the place where the wound still lives, and speak truth so deep that it cracks open the lie at its root. You believed you weren't enough, that you weren't worth fighting for, that what happened was somehow your fault. And those lies became part of your foundation. But I'm rebuilding you with truth. You've prayed for strength to carry it. I'm answering with an invitation to lay it down. You've asked for grace to endure. I'm offering grace to heal. Not because you're weak, but because I am strong in your weakness. Because you've carried it long enough. Because I'm not asking you to be okay, I'm asking you to be open. Some of your hiding has been holy. It was how you survived. It protected you when no one else did. But survival is not your identity. You are not just a survivor. You are my child, my joy, my image bearer. And I will not let what happened to you become who you are. You were never meant to carry shame. You were never meant to live with invisible chains. And right now, I am breaking the agreement you made with silence. I am interrupting the inner vow that said, I'll never let anyone close again. I am reaching past the walls and whispering, let me in. This healing will not humiliate you. I will cover you while I cleanse you. I will guard you while I grow you. I will protect your heart while I restore your soul. You will not be exposed, you will be embraced. And yes, there may be trembling. Yes, there may be tears. But they are not signs of weakness. They are signs of release. You are letting go, and I am catching every fragment. Every piece, every moment you thought was too broken for redemption. And if this whisper reaches you now, it's because you're ready. Let me heal what you hide. There is no rush in this healing. I won't push you to confront more than you're ready for. I move at the pace of your trust, not at the speed of your pain. But know this, I will never stop pursuing the pieces of your heart that still believe they're unworthy of love. You've made a home in the shadows because the light felt too revealing. You've convinced yourself that certain parts of your story are too complicated, too messy, too dark to be brought to me. But I am the light, and nothing you bring into my presence will be met with rejection. Only redemption. I do not shame you for the things you had to do to survive. I don't condemn the masks you wore when the world demanded strength. I don't mock the walls you built to protect your vulnerability. I see you, and I understand, but now, I am inviting you to live without armor. There is a soft place in me where your soul can land. A place where you can exhale the anxiety. A place where your silence can finally break open into song. A place where you don't have to be anything but real. There, in the sacred quiet, I meet you, not as a judge, but as a healer. Not as an accuser, but as a father. Healing doesn't mean you lose your edge, your drive, your passion. It means those things are no longer rooted in fear, no longer fueled by trauma, no longer haunted by memories. It means you can love without fear of abandonment. It means you can speak without shame trailing every word. There are people you've forgiven outwardly, but still carry inwardly. Situations you've moved on from in the natural, but still dwell in emotionally. I am here to untangle those knots, to remove the invisible weight from your soul, to take what you've normalized and name it for what it is, wounds I long to heal. There's more available to you than just getting by. There's more than functioning. There's more than faking joy. There's the fullness of joy, the overflow of peace, the kind of inner wholeness that radiates even on hard days. Not because life is perfect, but because you've let me love you in the imperfection. And if you need a sign that it's safe to begin, let this be it. Let me heal what you hide. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew every chapter, every joy and every heartbreak, every high and every valley. I knew the moments that would shape you and the ones that would shake you. And still, I called you mine. You've tried to pray your way past the pain, to worship your way around the wound, to serve your way out of the sorrow. But now I am calling you into it. not to drown, but to be delivered, not to stay there, but to be set free. You see, my healing doesn't bypass the brokenness. It enters it, it sits with it holds it close and breathes life into the places that felt like death. I am not uncomfortable with your grief. I do not recoil at your scars. I carry wounds too, wounds that purchased your freedom. And it is here, in this sacred pause, I ask you, can you be still long enough to let me in? You've run long enough. You've performed long enough. You've worked hard to fix what only I can restore. And now, in this moment, I want to be the one who carries the weight, the one who mends what was shattered. If this whisper finds you, it's not by accident. It's because I'm near, because I've heard the ache behind your silence, because I see the child in you that still waits to be held. And now, in this gentle space where heaven leans close, I ask just one thing. Would you let others hear what you've just heard? If this whisper has spoken to something deep inside you, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe, not as a routine, but as a response, a way of saying, I received this, I needed this, I know someone else does too. Because when healing begins in you, it doesn't end with you. Let me heal what you hide. You've been waiting for someone to truly see you. Not the version you present to the world. Not the strong, composed exterior, but the unfiltered, unguarded you. And here I am, not only seeing, but embracing. I am the one who never turned away. There were moments when you begged silently for rescue. When your strength failed and your heart whispered, this is too much. And while no one else noticed, I leaned in. I carried what you couldn't voice. I stood between you and the lies that tried to define your future. Do not mistake delay for denial. Some wounds require gentle hands, not forceful fixes. I have waited for this moment, not because I enjoy your pain, but because I cherish your trust. And trust, like healing, takes time. Your inner child still cries out. The one who was told to be quiet. The one who was punished for feeling. The one who learned that needs were burdens. I hear that child. I see that need. And I do not rebuke it, I reach for it. Let me speak to that place. Let me be the father you needed. The protector you lacked. The nurturer your soul still craves. Let me validate what others dismissed. Let me honor what others ignored. You don't have to hide behind theology. I am not impressed by lofty language when your heart is trembling. Just come as you are. Bruised, honest, unscripted. That is the altar I cherish. And you don't have to wait for the next crisis to cry out. I am just as near in the calm as I am in the chaos. I am not seasonal. I am steadfast. Not just your rescue. I am your rest. So breathe again. Let the tears come if they need to. Let the memories rise if they must. I am not afraid of what you remember. I am the one who redeems it. Let me heal what you hide. You've been taught that vulnerability is weakness. That silence is strength. That if you just hold it together long enough, the ache will fade on its own. But that's not healing. That's hiding. And I never asked you to hide from me. I never demanded perfection. Only presence. I never required performance. Only surrender. When you weep, I do not withdraw. I draw closer. When you tremble, I don't question your faith. I hold your frame. Because I know what it feels like to be human. I stepped into flesh to prove it. Every ache you've buried, I've felt. Every rejection you've endured, I've carried. Every betrayal, every abandonment, every lonely hour, I've walked it with you. And now, I long to walk you out of it. Not because it's easy, but because it's time. You've learned to numb instead of feel. To cope instead of confront. But you were never meant to be numb. You were made to feel. To breathe deeply. To love wholly. To live fully. And I am calling you back to yourself. Not the self shaped by trauma, but the self formed in my image. There's no shame in your scar. It tells the story of survival. But even survival must give way to resurrection. You were not meant to live forever in a state of guardedness. You were meant to rise. And rising begins with revealing. Let me into the place you swore no one would ever see. The place you protected with silence. The room in your heart that still echoes with old lies. Let me speak louder than those echoes. Let me sit with you in the middle of the mess and call it sacred ground. I will not rush you. But I will not leave you where you are. I am too faithful, too loving, too committed to your wholeness. And what you think will destroy you, confession, honesty, release, is what will actually deliver you. So exhale. Not everything needs to be explained. Some things just need to be expressed. And I am the safest place for it all. Let me heal what you hide. You've spent so long managing the pain that healing almost feels foreign. Peace feels unfamiliar. Rest feels unsafe. Joy feels distant. But I created you for more than endurance. I created you for restoration. Let me remind you, wholeness isn't a distant dream. It's your inheritance. Not because you earned it, but because I died for it. Not because you figured everything out, but because I finished the work. I see the cracks behind your strength, the tremble behind your smile, the fight it takes just to show up some days. I don't ignore those places, I honor them. Because they are proof that even in silence, you've kept going. And now I'm inviting you to do more than go on. I'm inviting you to come alive. This next season of your life won't be built on hiding. It will be built on healing. Not on fear, but on faith. Not on striving, but on surrender. Not on what others expect, but on what I speak over you in the quiet. Let me peel back the layers you've worn like armor. Let me show you that you don't need to be guarded with me. That you don't need to sanitize your emotions before bringing them to me. That you don't have to filter your pain through religious language. I am not offended by your rawness. I am drawn to it. What the world called too sensitive, I call deeply feeling. What others labeled too much, I call intentionally made. What you thought disqualified you, I call destiny. I don't look at your brokenness and see failure. I see fertile ground for a miracle. Let this be the moment you stop negotiating your worth. Let this be the hour where shame finally loses its voice. Let this be the space where the mask drops, and the real you emerges. Not the version shaped by survival, but the one sculpted by my spirit. Let me hold what you've held in secret. Let me soothe what you've silenced. Let me cradle the ache you've carried. You don't have to wait until you're whole to be loved. My love is what makes you whole. And this love, it won't back away. It won't get bored. It won't run when it sees the full picture. Because I've already seen it. And I stayed. I'm still staying. Let me heal what you hide. You've been afraid that if you let go, you'll fall apart. That if you open the door to grief, it will swallow you whole. But I am not calling you to grieve alone. I am calling you to grieve with me. I am not asking you to break down. I am offering to build you up. Healing does not come by force. It comes by invitation. And I am gently knocking. Not demanding entry but requesting surrender. Not surrender to defeat, but to deliverance. To the truth that you are not your past. Not your pain. Not your hidden wounds. Let's talk about the shame you carry. The one that hides beneath your accomplishments. The one that whispers when you rest. The one that makes you feel like no matter what you do, it's never enough. That shame, it's a liar. And I am here to silence it. You are enough because I said so. You are loved because I chose you. You are worthy because I formed you. Your story doesn't disqualify you. It equips you to carry compassion. To lead others out of the darkness you once knew too well. There are promises I've spoken over your life that haven't changed. Even though your journey has. I have not forgotten. I have not moved on. I am still holding the blueprint. I am still working behind the scenes. And part of that work is healing you from the inside out. Let me touch the part of you that thinks healing is only for others. Let me speak to the lie that says you must always be strong. Let me cradle your tired heart until it finds its rhythm again. Until your breath slows. Until your shoulders lower. Until your soul remembers. This is what it feels like to be seen, known, and safe. I'm not done. I've just begun. And the healing I bring is not temporary relief, it is eternal restoration. It doesn't just touch the symptoms, it heals the source. It doesn't patch holes, it makes all things new. Let me heal what you hide. Let me take you back, not to punish you, but to free you. To those early moments when you first learned to hide. To the conversation that left a scar. To the silence that was louder than any scream. Let me walk with you through it. Not so you'll relive the pain, but so you'll finally release it. You learned to be strong when you should have been held. You learned to be quiet when you needed to speak. You learned to protect others at the expense of your own heart. But I never asked that of you. I never required sacrifice from a place of self-neglect. And now, I'm restoring the balance. You thought healing meant forgetting. But healing is remembering with me in the picture. Seeing the same memory, but through my eyes. Feeling the pain, but also my presence. Let me reframe what you thought defined you. Let me show you where I was when you believed you were alone. I know the nights you couldn't sleep. The days you couldn't speak. The prayers you couldn't form. And still, I was there, holding space for you, interceding with groans too deep for words. Your pain did not go unnoticed. It went absorbed, into my body, on that cross, for your freedom. You were never meant to carry the burden of healing yourself. That's why I came, that's why I bled, that's why I rose, not so you could perform wholeness, but so you could receive it, so you could live free, not fake. So now, let's rewrite the story together. Page by page, not erasing the past, but redeeming it, not deleting the scars, but declaring them healed, not minimizing your pain, but magnifying my mercy in it. You've waited long enough. You've carried long enough. You've hidden long enough. It's time. Let me heal what you hide. You were never too broken for me. Never too much. Never too hard to handle. That label you accepted, too emotional. Too intense. Too sensitive. I never wrote that over you. I called you beloved. I called you chosen. I called you mine. You see yourself through the lens of what happened to you. But I see you through the lens of what I placed inside you. That fire. That tenderness. That discernment. That longing for depth. That wasn't the result of trauma. It was the residue of my touch. I know you've been misunderstood. I know you've been misjudged. But I understand you perfectly. You don't need to edit your prayers. You don't need to rehearse your emotions. You can come undone in my presence. And I'll call it holy. I want to restore the places where you've settled. The dreams you shelved. The parts of your heart you silenced to survive. You stopped dreaming because hope felt dangerous. But hope isn't a threat. It's a promise waiting to be fulfilled. I gave you the ability to feel deeply. Not so you would drown. But so you would discern. So you would love. So you would recognize me when I whisper. And I am whispering now. Calling you to trust again. To open again. To believe that healing isn't for someday. But for now. I am not intimidated by your timeline. I am not limited by what others did or didn't do. I specialize in impossible places. In buried pain. In hidden fears. In long-forgotten cries. And I'm not here to fix you like a project. I'm here to love you into freedom. To walk with you step by step until the weight lifts. Until the tears become praise. Until the ache becomes an altar where my glory dwells. You don't have to understand it all. Just take the next breath. Just open the next door. Just whisper, I'm willing. That's all I need. Willingness, not perfection. I'm not waiting on your strength. I'm moving in your surrender. Let me heal what you hide. Let me remind you of who you are, not who pain told you to be. Not who fear forced you to become, but who I designed before time began. You were not born to hide. You were born to shine. You were not made to shrink. You were made to rise. The enemy of your soul has tried to convince you that healing is dangerous. That it will dismantle your identity. But what it will dismantle is the false identity built on wounds. The scaffolding of survival. The mask of invulnerability. That's not who you are. It never was. You are tender, not weak. Bold, not reckless. Humble, not invisible. You have mistaken meekness for silence. But I am raising your voice, not in noise, but in truth. You were created to speak life. Not just over others, but over yourself. Let me teach you how to live unhidden. How to love without bracing for impact. How to breathe without tension in your chest. This is not fantasy. This is the reality I offer, the fruit of healing. There is no timeline for your process. I won't rush you past revelation. Some truths must unfold slowly. Some breakthroughs come with rest, not striving. The deepest healing is not a dramatic moment. It's often quiet, gentle, layered like sunrise after a long night. I want to be the one who holds your hand in the hallway between pain and promise. Who whispers hope when the voices of doubt grow loud? Who anchors you when your emotions swing like waves? I am not fleeting. I am not fragile. I am eternal. And in my eternity, there is time for your restoration. I am not late. I am exact. I am here now. So if all you can do today is say, I need help, that is enough. If all you can offer is your honest weariness, I will receive it like incense. If all you can find is one cracked open prayer, it will become a portal for my presence. You don't need to feel strong to be in my presence. You only need to be real. Let me heal what you hide. You've been faithful even while fractured. You've shown up even when you were shutting down inside. That matters to me. Your tears didn't go unnoticed. Your persistence through pain was worship. Even when you didn't have words. Let me now be faithful to you. Let me show you what it feels like to be pursued without pressure. Seen without shame. Held without condition. I don't just want your best days. I want your hidden ones. I want the morning you barely made it out of bed. The night you cried yourself to sleep. The in-between where you felt numb and unnoticed. Those moments matter to me. Because they're real. And I dwell in what's real. I didn't die for your cleaned up self. I died for the you that you try to hide, the version that struggles. That doubts. That sometimes wants to quit. That's the one I came for. That's the one I love. And I'm not asking you to fix yourself first. I'm not demanding you heal before I touch you. I am the healing. I am the touch. I am the safe space you've been longing for. So stop measuring your progress by how well you're hiding the hurt. Let the ache surface. Let the tears rise. Let your voice tremble in honesty. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not intimidated. I'm not surprised. You've said, but God, they left when I opened up. I say, I stay when others run. You've said, but God, they couldn't handle the truth. I say, I am the truth, and I hold you in it. You've said, but God, I'm too far gone. I say, I go farther. Let me undo the lies that formed in the absence of love. Let me unwrite the shame that took root in silence. Let me rewire the patterns built on survival. And breathe joy into your nervous system again. You don't need to live in defense mode. You don't have to brace for the next blow. You don't have to scan every room for threats. You are not in danger here. You are in my presence. Let me heal what you hide. Let me carry what you thought no one could ever understand. The confusion you couldn't explain. The fatigue you couldn't shake. The fears you never admitted out loud. I don't just want the part of you that worships me on the mountain. I want the part that wrestles in the valley. You've called some of your pain normal, because you've lived with it for so long. But normal isn't always healthy. Familiar isn't always safe. And I am not calling you to tolerate the ache. I'm calling you to trade it. Your burden for my rest. Your unrest for my peace. Your silence for my song. Some of you are grieving things you can't name. Losses that don't have headlines. Disappointments that no one else sees. You're carrying silent sorrows. Unnamed grief. Delayed reactions to pain you never had time to process. I see those too. I name them. I hold space for them. Your body has been holding what your voice hasn't released. That tension in your chest. That tightness in your jaw. That exhaustion behind your eyes. Let me into the place where emotions live in your cells. Let me bring healing not just to your spirit, but to your whole being. This isn't about a one-time encounter. This is about a relationship. One where you don't have to perform. Where your mess is not a deal breaker. Where you can fall apart and know I will still hold you together. You are not your coping mechanisms. You are not your lowest moment. You are not the version of yourself that others mishandled. You are mine, and nothing they did to you changed what I put in you. Let me remind you. Let me restore you. Let me be the God of your hidden places, not just the public ones. Not just the platform, not just the calling, but the quiet, the lonely, the locked up places where your soul still waits for permission to be fully known. You don't need to keep proving that you're okay. You don't need to keep performing faith. You don't need to act strong when I already know where you're weak, and I've already decided to meet you there. Let me heal what you hide. Let me gather the fragments. Not just the ones you offer freely, but the ones that feel too messy to bring. The regrets, the fears, the questions, the memories, the parts of your past you've tried to outrun. I am not asking for the polished version, I am asking for the real one. You've done a beautiful job surviving. Now let me teach you how to live. I know what it's like to be misunderstood, to be betrayed, to be abandoned, to feel forsaken. I've felt it too, not just in theory, but in flesh, on the cross, for you. So when I say I understand, I mean it. I know what it means to be crushed, and I know how to rise again. And you will rise again. But not by hiding, not by numbing, not by pretending. You will rise by releasing, by trusting, by letting me do what only I can do. You've heard my whisper again and again. Let me heal what you hide. And now, I ask you to respond, not with fear, but with faith, not with hesitation, but with hope. What if your greatest freedom is on the other side of your greatest fear? What if the healing you long for is already available, if only you'd say yes? So say yes, not to religion, but to relationship, not to performance, but to presence, not to pressure, but to peace. Say yes to healing. Say yes to me. Let me heal what you hide. Let this be the day everything begins to shift. Not because the circumstances have changed yet, but because you finally said, I'm done hiding. That sentence, whispered through tears, groaned from exhaustion, or spoken in quiet courage, is enough to unlock the door. I will meet you there, at the threshold of transparency, at the altar of honesty, in the sacred pause between your fear and your faith. I will step in, and as you allow me to enter the very places you've concealed the most, I will not flinch. I will not withdraw. I will kneel beside you. I will gather what's broken. I will breathe new life. Because I don't just want to touch your life, I want to transform it. So come as you are. Come weary. Come undone. Come expectant. Come hidden if you must, but don't stay that way. Because this is your moment. Let me heal what you hide. You were never meant to carry this alone. Let me into the place you sealed shut. Let me bring light into the shadows. Let me turn sorrow into song, and hiding into healing. Let me heal what you hide.